Hello, welcome to JN Healing. I am JN, and this is where you learn how to heal yourself so you don't have to keep paying someone else to do it for you, and you can do it in the middle of the night whenever you want. Today, we are going to talk about the painful process of awakening as an empath. It is excruciating at times, but you're lucky to be an empath because you get to feel wonderful things too. So when we get to that in just a moment, we will talk all about that. Just make sure that you are following this channel on wherever you are listening or watching, and make sure to like this episode because it's wonderful, and I want to make sure that people see this and hear it. So that is that. So let's talk about empaths. If you listen to my previous episode on empaths and narcissists, you know that empaths have trouble with boundaries, and that is the hallmark of an empath. And that's why they can feel everybody's emotions because they're just so open and they have no boundaries or little boundaries at all. And usually, what they believe are boundaries are actually walls. So go listen to that one because we're not going to talk about exactly what an empath is, but part of being an empath involves not having proper boundaries or having excessive reactions to other people's um, behavior. So, not believing in any boundaries at all, whether it's ours or theirs. And if somebody else has a boundary, then that can trigger an empath into feeling worthless and frustrated. Empaths are hallmark martyrs. They use the no boundaries as a way to give too much and then get angry when they feel taken advantage of. And just like in my other episodes, this is a quick rundown version. Narcissists use no boundaries to attack all the time and try to expand into others' boundaries. And you can have a mix of the two in one. Sometimes people can behave one way or the other. It all depends on their inner programming. So there is hope for narcissists. It does not mean that you need to fix anyone. So do not stick together with someone who's not good for you. But do understand that it is possible for that person to heal. It does not mean you need to be in their life. So what empaths can do is they have basically X-ray vision, and they can see directly into someone through someone else's boundaries. Sometimes they can expand into them. They can feel everything. And sometimes that what they do is they don't believe they have their own boundaries. They can dissolve their own boundaries. And boundaries are essentially, so if you've ever done my love bubble meditation, I talk about the selectively permeable membrane, right? Like just like a cell. So a cell is a ball, and you can't have a ball without a skin, right? That's what we call a selectively permeable membrane. It's an intelligent skin. It knows what to let in and what not to let out, and what to let out and what is not serving us. So many empaths, and it's a naturally occurring sphere in our lives, in our energetic sphere. So we have this energetic skin. What empaths often want to do is burn off their own skin. So it's physically painful for an empath to exist in this state. And the skin continues to try to rebuild itself because that's what skin does. But unaware empaths are doing this all the time because they don't value themselves, because they don't feel like people should have boundaries. Um, lots of different reasons. Lots of different reasons. But the most important thing is that when an empath wakes up, so that third eye opens, this awareness, this aha moment of, I feel alive again. When that happens for an empath, it is so painful because they have been burning off their skin for so long. One, two, they have been allowing in programs and entities and things all the time because they don't have this membrane fully up all the time. It is not in there properly, it's not installed. And when they wake up, they find there's a huge, huge overwhelm for empaths where it's like this crushing feeling that it does not, it's crushing, overwhelming, it is impossible feeling. They just can't get it all done, right? Rest assured, you can do all the things that you need to do in the time you need to do them. But you wake up and it's like when your foot falls asleep for a long time and it starts to wake up, it's just like that. So it's like, oh my goodness, I can feel everything everywhere because I have no boundaries. I can also, um, so yeah, they've also, as they're feeling everything, they're feeling the skin, they're feeling all of the pain of everything that's been attacking them internally that they didn't know about. And it's so heavy. It's just so heavy. And being able to clearly focus on one thing at a time is the name of the game. So when an empath starts to wake up, it feels at first like, I'm alive, I can breathe, I'm aware, and then it gets this heaviness. And the tricky part is not to let that heaviness get you down, but to continue to find everything within your space and heal it. And this is going to change your life for good, for bad. It's going to change your life completely. You will not be the same person you were 6 months before, 1 month before, and that's a good thing. You are not happy. You were on the brink of something horrible, right? And then you have this moment, you have a rock bottom, you have a moment of waking up, and you go, oh my gosh, I have all this stuff going on. And the name of the game, two things. Number one is to let go of what you think is right. Number two is to take it one piece at a time, one phrase at a time, even. If you try to take whole, if you're, let's say you're programming a computer and you have pages and pages of programming to do. How are you going to do that? One line at a time. Does this line make sense? Is this valuable to this program? Or even if you're writing an essay, for example, you're going to go line by line. And that's the same thing you're going to do with yourself. You're going to go through those line by line of, um, do I feel valuable? Do I feel valued? Am I worthy to be valued? Am I okay with boundaries? Because part of the reason that we burn the skin off is that we don't have boundaries. We're not okay with boundaries. It's right to have boundaries. It's safe to have boundaries. It's good for others that I have boundaries. Go through all of those different phrases line by line by line and clear out any resistance to those phrases, and you will change your life, and it will feel easy externally, but hard internally. You'll second guess and question yourself every day internally, but your external life will just figure itself out. And that's what you want, because when you expand into your fullness, because what you're doing is you've got like this crumpled up structure here, and if you fully expand it and you have the full bubble and you have everything in your bubble has the appropriate structure and does not have external entities in it, does not have anything that is self-sabotaging, then you will take up space. And like I said before, an empath's worst fear is taking up space, being inconvenient. So when you are going through this process, or if you know someone going through this process, just know one piece at a time. And that one little piece, that one little sentence will make you feel so much better, provide so much relief and hope as time goes on. And sometimes that is instantaneous. So when you have this feeling of, I don't know, I don't, something's wrong, I don't know what, something, and then you ask these questions and you heal that piece and you heal that piece, you come out of it and it's like, ooh, who was I? Because this is not the same person that I laid down as when I went to do I do my sessions on myself laying down, like, but you come up and you're just like, oh my goodness, I don't know who I was, but I left them back there because who I am today is me. And I feel more like me than ever. So as you're going through that process, just be very gentle with yourself and take it one step at a time, wherever you feel is the most efficient place. I could sit here and be like, oh, step one, you go through the structure, or step one is to go to the membrane, or clear these things first. I could totally do that, right? But that might not be your process. It might make it easy for you to go, oh, I just go through these steps, and you'll hit them all. And it might not be the right order for you, but you get to them all, and that's fine. But if you feel like you're super drawn to something, and you're like, oh, I need to heal my boundaries, I need to heal my boundaries, not set boundaries, not enforce boundaries, but heal my boundaries first, and heal my relationship with boundaries, heal my relationship with other people's reaction to my boundaries. Those are times when you know it's going to stick, instead of you just lashing out all the time. So something else that happens when so before an empath wakes up, there's a lot of um, codependency, guilt, shame, and guilt trips are a major way. Passive aggression and guilt tripping is a huge way that unawakened empaths lash out. Um, as they are awakening, there's some of that, but then it also becomes a lot of times more volatile because they're trying to uphold these boundaries that have been crumbling for so long. And so when an empath awakens, it's sometimes a very emotionally virulent process. It just wait comes up like a ball of spikes. Just get the F away from me. I'm a ball of spikes. Everyone can go die in a corner, right? Like that's how it ends up coming off as the empath is waking up. But it's because they're recognizing all of this pain. So if someone you love is going through that process, that's why. It's like a foot being asleep, but it's not just your foot, it's your whole life waking up at the same time. It's so uncomfortable, and there's so much anger and rage and aggression that can happen in that moment. So if you find yourself feeling like more irritable than usual because you're waking up, that is normal. It's temporary, just like your foot falling asleep is temporary. But continue to do the work and recognize that the way you say things and the way you used to say things are shifting, and you may just want to be more gentle with yourself and gentle with others. Yeah, I come from a long family of unawakened empaths, and well, I don't know if it's a long family, but I have a very large family, and everyone was an unawakened empath. And it was hard because everyone loves each other, but sometimes people show love in different ways, and the way they show love often triggers each other. And if you're not recognizing what somebody really means to say, When instead of reacting to the way they say it, it's really easy to get hurt in a very deep level. And if an entire family of empaths is waking up at the same time, it's a mess. But if everyone is doing the work on themselves, creating their boundaries, it's going to be uncomfortable, but you're going to get through it. You will. So we're just going to do the love bubble meditation because that's always a good one for resolving boundaries and feeling boundaries. And when you do this, I want you to really understand the outer edges of your boundary. So the first step is always to unlock the heart. And you just really focus in on your heart, deep inside your heart. About 2 inches inside your chest in the left ventricle, there is a ball of energy where your unconditional love resides. And when you unlock it, it feels like a coolness in your heart, or sometimes a tingling. And the way you unlock it is to think about someone or something that melts your heart. Yeah, sometimes it's an animal or small child, something where it's just so innocent that you have nothing but love for that. And you allow it to unlock and you allow it to expand. And it continues to expand and expand and expand until you are fully encased in the bubble of pure love. Now, this bubble, if you were able to outstretch your arms all the way and stand up all the way, it goes 3 feet above your head, 3 feet below your feet, and 3 feet on either side of your middle fingertips. It is a very roomy bubble, but it is not vast. It is not vast, it is roomy and comfortable. Now, what I want you to do is take a moment of just walk, like get a small version of you to walk your entire bubble, recognizing where there are soft spots, recognizing where there are holes, and then just kind of in your mind's eye, get your small person to put their hands out to that area and just send love to that area. And if that spot does not respond entirely, but responds a little bit, then you're going to just do this over and over again many days and continue to do this work of just showing your peripherals, your boundaries, your unconditional love. You're going to show that to yourself. And then when you're done with this, so you can pause it and kind of just take your time to do this work of really especially get the back of your boundaries. Watch your back. Because sometimes people who are empathic and feel like, oh, I have to watch my back because blah, blah, blah. That's because their back boundaries are not tended to. You might have really strong front boundaries, but your back boundaries are not tended to. So make sure that you walk the entire bubble all the way to the back. And just healing up any areas. So you can pause this, and then when you're done, I want you to write down anything that came to mind while you were doing this meditation. And if you're brave, I'd love to hear about it in the comments. And just let me know what I can do to serve you better. If you are running into a sticking point, that would be a great place where I can help create another video or podcast for that. So thank you so much for watching and listening. I really do appreciate you and everything that you do. Everyone have a wonderful day, and I will see you next week.